right, hello. Scott Torre here again with my next YouTube video about the Town Hall 9 War General. A lot of times we have a lot of clans out there constantly asking me recently, what is a War General? They're hearing about the hardcore war scene and their ways of developing ideas toward better organizing their attack schemes and, who's attacking what, when, where, and how. And I've got Dusky here as well as Case from Buy Forever.
Yo, what's up?
Sounds good. How you guys doing?
They're gonna be, explaining what it means to be a Town Hall 9 War General and some of the responsibilities of it. So that way we can kind of get it out there, start kind of teaching these clans that are up and coming, some different tools they can use in their arsenal in order to become one of the elite war clans out there. Because with Clash of Clans, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, Clash of Clans is starting to die a little bit, especially the war scene. We're seeing a lot of clans that are disbanding, a lot of members that are retiring out of the war scene, and we need these clans that are up and coming to start stepping up their game and start increasing their capabilities and start bringing something to the table and bringing competition to some of these clans that have been around for a while. And they've got just a bunch of raw talent that needs a little bit of a challenge. As you can see here, we had a stomping victory over Elite Gaming today. We went 1-1 for 11v11. We went perfect on dips, 6-4 on 10v11. We were able to clear all the 11s, and then we just dropped an 11v11 just for the hell of it. And then 6-4 on 10v10. So yeah, it was just an absolute stomping victory. I pretty much had no contribution because I got 2 1-star attacks. Yeah, it wasn't really my best performance. I could have, and I think it had a lot to do with, I think I overthought my first attack. I generally with miners, I don't spend a whole lot of time planning it. I just kind of look at it, identify like where my heroes should be dropped, and whether or not I could even be mass miner from the beginning. Then execute. Whereas today I just kept logging in and kind of like looking at the base, coming up with ideas. Should I do a walk? Should I not do a walk? Should I do a CC pull? Should I not do a CC pull? And just kind of kept toying around with different ideas. And I think I thought too much into it, kind of psyched myself out on that. Anytime you do miners, I can't really think too much into it, I think.
I think that's fair.
Yeah. And
sometimes be the slot machine of 10v10.
Exactly, it is. And my second attack was just a boner attack, which you don't see too much of anymore via 10v10. I mean, I see it occasionally, but and the only reason I think I messed it up is because of the rage I didn't drop on the kill squad. It's the little things. Everything else went according to plan, but the part of the attack that you expect to just know to execute is the one you mess up. I mean, simple as a rage spell over the kill squad. Like, what? How do I forget that? So anyway, Town Hall 9 War Generals. What is a Town Hall 9 War General? Guys, kind of enlighten us. Like, what is a general to begin with?
I mean, I'd say kind of just somebody that, just leads by, however they feel. I mean, we'll go into it. Obviously, Case and I both play very different roles in our leadership as war generals, but it's somebody that just kind of leads the Town Hall 9s into battle, I guess you could say.
Absolutely.
And one thing I would say about war generaling at Town Hall 9 is that tends to be in the preparatory stages, like during the week, because oftentimes Town Hall 9's the highest number in the mixed war scene. You're dealing with sometimes 20 plus. Usually we're in the high teens. And sometimes it can be like herding cats to try and get everybody to have fresh bases, to try and get everybody to be practicing their attacks. And then sometimes the war day is actually kind of smooth sailing, where you let some of the better Town Hall 9 players just do their thing.
Yeah,
I think that's actually one of the perfect descriptions of it is essentially herding cats, especially at the Town Hall 9 level, because there's so many of them. In a clan family, especially a clan family as big as the Buy Forever family, where we have members that are kind of bouncing back and forth between the different clans, and doing some of these midweek spins with whether it be Code Enigma or the main Buy Forever clan or any of them, or some of the events that occur midweek, some of the tournaments, and people just kind of practicing different troop comps and stuff, and then kind of herding them where they're supposed to be when they need to be there. And that actually kind of brings me to one of my other questions: is what is it that a war general has to do, like before the war? What occurs before like a major arranged war that is coming up the upcoming weekend? What is it you guys do?
Oh man, I mean, you gotta. I'd say after war finishes Saturday, there's usually a break that we'll take. Well, I kind of go through the week in the life of a Town Hall 9 war general. So we'll, Saturday will finish it up. We'll, win the war, obviously. Our Sunday will finish up. We'll win the war, obviously. And then the rest of Sunday, we'll just kind of hang out. What we prefer is all of our fresh bases to be done by Tuesday. So we want bases built and ready for testing on Tuesday. So we'll kind of keep on top of the 9s because a lot of the 9s also run 10s, also run 11s. So those are obviously going to be a little bit higher priority, making a good 11 base or making a good 10 base than making a good 9 base. But we do want to have fresh bases every Tuesday. And then Wednesday is usually testing day number 1. So we'll test the base, and throughout the day we'll kind of throw ideas off of the other 9s, base building, that kind of stuff. And then from there, we'll test the bases, we'll adjust the bases accordingly, we'll make more adjustments, and then we'll test more. So by the time spin day rolls around, we're ready for war.
Absolutely. That actually kind of answers one of my other questions was y'all's involvement with base building and making sure everyone builds a fresh base every war. Do you guys kind of test them out and inspect to make sure they're not just something people can easily just fresh triple within the first 5 minutes of war, which we do see quite a bit of in some of these arranged wars in the weekend. And you guys also determine like what clan castle troops are utilized in each base, or is that something that's left for the individual Town Hall 9?
So that's usually left to the individual, because if we expect people to build their own bases, we're hoping that they have a CC in mind that plays to the strengths of their bases. Sometimes on war day, if we're looking through and we see a ton of one certain CC, maybe sometimes we'll ask a few people to switch it up. Sometimes not, just always playing mind games with the opponent. To consider with the Town Hall 9 game is that at the end of the war, every Town Hall 9 is going to be tripled, right?
Absolutely.
So for one of the things we do in the phase of base testing, kind of in that first phase that Dusky said, is we bases from a scout view, because we really do put an emphasis on defending that fresh hit. Kind of the gold standard for a Town Hall 9, at least at the CWL invite level, is defend that fresh hit, and any other defenses you get beyond that is just gravy on top.
Gravy on the mashed potatoes.
Fresh read on the scout bases is really important when we're trying to employ mind games and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. To kind of go off of that and kind of take a step back for a second, we look at every base and we try to help people with bases, but me personally, I'm not the best base builder in the entire world. Case is much better than I am, but I can usually nitpick one or two little things in a base that I don't like. Like I can see a 2 jump. If I see 2 jumps get you the entire base, then I'm going to say something about that, and we'll kind of go from there. But we usually leave it up to the base builder, like the individual base builder, to come up with the idea for the base and build the base, and we just make small tweaks and adjustments.
Or point out like glaring weaknesses that no matter what the attacker would do, if they exploit that weakness, that it would probably result in a triple.
Yeah, absolutely. And at the end of the day, all the Town Hall 9 bases end up getting tripled, regardless. I mean, best case scenario is we force a Town Hall 10 to dip onto it. which does occur. Hell, this past war we had to dip a couple tens, I believe, and yeah, and we've seen a couple times, in invite, clans having to spend 6, 7 Town Hall 9 attacks on a Town Hall 9 base. That kind of helps lessen the amount of scouts that clan gets, and kind of force them to go fresh on their 10v10s, 10v11s. And yeah, it's absolutely important to get that solid base building in order to actually kind of do those checks and stuff, while simultaneously, making sure the actual individual players doing it themselves as well. Because with the amount of 9s that are in any particular clan family, I mean that's a lot of work and a lot to ask from any war general, is to check every single base and make sure every single one is on point. Some of the responsibilities got to be on those individuals as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then, what is it overall as a Town Hall 9 war general? What is it that you feel as though is most beneficial to having one as a clan? Because a lot of clans, when we were just talking like right before we started this video, well, some clans in the Elite War scene don't even have war generals. Some just kind of go with the flow, and they use war match, some of these clash callers, stuff like that, and just kind of execute accordingly. Whoever happens to be in voice, hop in voice with them, kind of spitball some ideas on a game plan for an attack, and then kind of execute. Whereas a lot of the clans now, such as Black Forever, has war generals set up. What's the benefit, do you guys feel revolves around that, having one?
I think go ahead, Dusk.
I'd say just organization for one thing. I mean, just having the ability for somebody to say, should I dip? I mean, not should I dip? Should I hit a 9 or should I hit a 10? And they can come to us. We can go to the Town Hall 10 war generals, say, hey, what do you need? And so there's kind of like a little, I guess you could say, hierarchy there. But I mean, just from an organizational standpoint, I think that's what stands out to me personally the most. About it. Go ahead, Case.
Yeah, I would agree. And to expound upon that, I think the biggest thing is being able to put on the brakes when it's necessary. Like as a war general, you can kind of keep tabs on the tempo of the war. And if we have several 9 fails in a row, you can say, hey, let's slow down. Let's get the next ones planned really well. Let's make sure those are executed at a high level. So in the sense of putting on the brakes, if we are running out of 9 hits, it's often more efficient for us to say, hey, let's stop the 9v9, get the 10s or their scouts, and then we'll dip the last couple 9s or whatever. Is that our Town Hall 9s cannot win us the war, but they can lose us the war. Our 10s, our 11s, our 10v11 team, those are your equivalent of like your quarterbacks or your wide receivers in Clash. Those are the skill players that are going to be making the big plays. And then the Town Hall 9s are the offensive line. So it's our job to empower our skill players to make those plays and win us the war.
Yeah, that's
we're not,
fantastic.
Not going to win any awards, but we'll definitely know if we're not there.
Yeah, that's
crippling.
Great.
With, like Scott, you said, with getting scouts, it's very apparent at times that sometimes the Town Hall or the 10v10 team takes a little bit longer to get going when we don't have 10 Town Hall 9 scouts. We don't get those plans scouted. Sometimes when we get those early plans scouted, we can knock out 3 Town Hall 10 triples in the first night. If we're struggling at 9, then it takes longer to get the 10s going. So just kind of a domino effect too.
Yeah,
absolutely. And plus it's less time kind of planning the wrong attack on 10v10 too. Because like at one instance you could be planning Queen Charge Lalo on a base, and then you get the scout in. It can completely alter, the game plan you have for that particular base. You say, oh, this is in the CC, the Teslas are in this spot, he's got his Skelly set to ground or air. You completely change the troop comp that you planned on that base. So the sooner you get that knowledge as to where those things are on those base layouts, I mean, you can start playing the correct meta, sooner than later. Because I know I flip-flop my troop comps all the time as a 10. Like if I'm looking at a base, I'll think to myself, oh, let's run, I don't know, a Shattered Hobo or something. And then I would say like 2 hours later, after someone made an attempt on it, I see, Skelly's set to this or that. Then I completely change it to, I don't know, miners or boner or something completely off. And the sooner you get that knowledge, the more time you can invest as a 10, and you can actually get the triple out of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And plus, on top of which, Town Hall 9s, you said yourself, they may not necessarily win the war, but they can definitely lose the war. And that also plays a big role, I think, in what's the word I'm looking for? Motivation in a clan. A lot of times when you get those really high caliber, intense wars that's coming up on the weekend, and it's going to be a solid, really tough matchup, you can kind of tell whether or not your clan is going to come out performing just based off of the morale itself, whether you guys utilize Discord or Line, and the way everyone's kind of hyping up and talking about it. And the opening 9s are key in that. When your 9s come out swinging and just start dropping, fresh triples back to back, and your war generals are leading the 9s accordingly, saying this guy attack here, he's our better air attacker. We're going to place him on that base because that's obviously a Lalo base. This is obviously a Hog base, so we're going to put our best ground guys on that. Whatnot, and that really motivates the clan itself, kind of gets them hyped up to hop into voice chat and start planning and start developing those ideas, helping each other out. Whereas if your 9s are struggling, you can kind of feel it as the midsection of the war starts to approach, and you kind of feel like, oh man, we lost this war anyway. And then people start throwing attacks, so not necessarily throwing attacks, but not really kind of giving it their all because they already just feel the loss coming on anyway, because they had to dip like 4 or 5 10s on these 9s. And I think, and like you said before, organization's key because it also kind of ensures people get their attacks in the proper time frame. A lot of times, if you see there's still like 5 Town Hall 9s on the board and there's 6 hours left in war, as a 10, you're sitting there like, okay, do I have to start planning on dipping, or can I continue planning my 10v10? And so getting those cleared early on, it's big. So yeah, in my opinion, I think establishing war generals, and they're established at all levels, guys. This is our first video, and we're starting them off on the Town Hall 9s. Starting off the bottom level on the war map, and then we're gonna work our way to the Town Hall 10 war generals, 10v11 team, and then Town Hall 11 war generals, and it starts here at the Town Hall 9, the very beginning of war. Kind of sets the pace, sets the tone for it. And I mean, I've seen it time and again, where clans who, especially Buy Forever of all clans, how many times have Buy Forever been the underdog in clans and they come out either pulling out the victory or gave them one hell of a fight all the way up to the very end, coming down to percent. Even last season, I mean, we had, what was it, against War Whales? It came down to percent, back when they were still fair play, and and even Dark Looters, I think we faced, didn't we? Or Buy Forever?
I think we lost to Dark Looters by 1 star, because I forget what happened, but I think we had an 11v10 fail that that person never fails or something like that. I forget what it was, but it was heartbreaking.
Exactly, and I imagine that the intensity that was going on in the server at the time was some, you can feel it. You feel the energy, and I don't know. It's tough to explain. But is there anything else that you guys feel as though is important that people? Because I mean, there's a lot of clans out there, and like I said, I see it all the time on stream. People constantly asking, "Hey, how can I start bringing my clan into the elite war scene?" Like there's a lot of clans out there that are ready, that they're looking for ways to improve their clan as a whole. They've got some sort of organization going, and they kind of want to take it to the next level. And if they want to start implementing war generals into their clan, I mean, what else do you feel as though they can take with them and put in their toolbox? What's something else that they can learn about this so they can set it up?
I'd say one big thing, especially at Town Hall 9 more than any other level, is that you can force a square peg into a round hole at Town Hall 9. I would encourage war generals at that level to trust their players' judgment on what attacks they want to use on certain bases. Dusky and I are really fortunate to have a crew of talented players in BFE. Just making sure that they are planning, that they are thinking fully through their attacks. And I would caution a war general to force certain people into certain strategies. Gets often overlooked, and that should be paramount, is attacker comfort. You know, if the attacker's not confident in the attack that he or she's going to be performing, there's a higher likelihood of it failing. So make sure your guys are confident before they're going in.
Yeah, definitely agree with that. Also, one thing that, you know, I always try to push when you're trying to choose your roster for CWL or LCW or whatever roster that you're trying to choose nines for. I know Scott's gonna hate me for saying this, but you have to have good witch hitters first and foremost.
I wouldn't. I'm the one that's very pro witches. I'm pro
really?
witches. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm pro
Okay.
witches. Hey, at the end of the day, if it puts a green line on the warlog, then whatever attack needs to be executed needs to be executed.
I hear you, but
Appreciate that.
but I mean, you want to have good witch hitters, but you don't want all witch hitters. So we have two. I put them into two categories. You have witch hitters and unique hitters. We have a good balance of both. The witch hitters will usually come in nice and early, and this is kind of the schedule of our war day. Is, you know, the witches come in early. They take out, you know, 6, 7, 8 bases with witches just because they're that great. And then you have, you know, either the better hitters, the more unique witch hitters, they'll come in and kind of clean up a couple. And then you'll have your fully unique people come in and just kind of clean up where they can, how they can. And, you know, that's one thing that, you know, I've always stressed whenever choosing a roster for whatever league. Also, kind of something completely unrelated is we have 2 war generals, me, Case and I, and then we also have a couple captains. But you know, with those captains, we also have 2 Town Hall 10s that we have in Buy Forever. They also help out with the 9s. I think that's something that's very important because the Town Hall 9 plays for the Town Hall 10. So Town Hall 9s, the better you do, the better your 10s do usually. So, I mean, you have to have your Town Hall 10s interlaced with your Town Hall 9s because they're going to be commingling on a lot of things. And in that little group, there has to be very good chemistry. Can't be a lot of drama. You all got to like each other. Can't hate each other. So that's one big thing is chemistry and making sure everybody likes each other.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's actually a really good point too. Is having like a strong line of communication between your 10s and 9s, especially because they're gonna be planning pretty close. Even when the 10s start their planning process, they're gonna have the 9s right there, so they can start developing scout ideas and what a good conversion is. So like for example, 9s don't have minors at their disposal. So what is it that a 10 can provide to a 9 in order to get a scout that'll facilitate a potential minor attack? And vice versa for different types of troop comps that are they can kind of plan together and get the scout for if once 9s are clear or if they look like they're about to be cleared. And yeah, it's something that I do feel as though a lot of clans are going to start kind of gearing more toward, are going to start developing more into, is war generals. And you even mentioned something about captains too. Do you want to?
Yeah.
What are captains?
They just kind of help out with the war generals. I mean, they basically have the same exact decision-making power, or, you know, if they say, hey, this person has played 3 straight weeks and they have a 10% hit ratio, then, you know, they're going to say, you know, I don't think they should play this week. We'll listen to that and we'll not play them. I mean, they have basically the same powers, I guess you could say, that we do. We are just more, I guess we've been doing it a little bit longer, so...
Yeah,
They're kind of extensions of us, you know, just extra eyes, extra ears, helping us out, trying to split the workload.
Yeah,
absolutely. And I think it also kind of helps out with kind of helping decide bases too, because a lot of times it kind of helps being told, hey, we need this base cleared by a war general, so then that way you can kind of not worry too much about, oh, should I hit this base, should I hit this base, like getting that direct guidance. And just that blatant organization, I think that really does kind of go along. I know it helps me out a lot. Like whenever I'm told, like, hey, this base needs to be attacked, then that way I can just focus. Like I don't have to worry too much about would I be better on this base or better on that base. Then I can just boom, my eyes are set and done. And then yeah, as well as whether or not who's gonna be in the next war and whatnot. Kind of determining who's been performing lately, who's got stuff going on in real life, and
Yeah.
which actually kind of brings me to my next point too. Is what is it you guys do post war? Like after a war ends, um, what is it that you guys do? You guys go back and evaluate hit rates for each person, or
So we have War Match keeps track of most of our hit rates. We have some very talented programming people that can integrate the War Match stats into our own spreadsheets. So there's no actual gathering of stats from Dusky and I.
Hmm.
I like to do personally is check back and just do like an eye check and see who failed. They failed because I think it's important to um, figure out if they failed because of like an execution thing, or if it was a bad plan, or if it was just like a Tesla farm that completely caught them off guard. I think all those things matter and play into player that failed is going to see time, or if we need to talk to them and to ask them to be a little sharper with their execution, just those sort of things. So just kind of eye checking the attacks. I like to check the defenses too to see who actually got defenses for us.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's what I was gonna
absolutely.
say. Is I love defense and I love base building. Is so much fun, but I'm so terrible at it. But I like to go back and see. For me personally, I like to go back and look at the defenses, what they did right in their defenses, why it worked, why it caused them to fail 5 times. That's just me personally, though.
Yeah, I mean when that plays a huge role too in a lot of wars, especially some of your lower weight bases too. Because I know me as a 10, I'm brand new to base. I'm not remotely skilled at base building at the moment. It's still a work in progress. But whenever you can get those low weight bases, whether it be a 9 or a 10, that can fend off a lot of attacks, because generally the other clan kind of assumes that base is going to be tripled. The lowest weight 10 on the board or the lowest weight 9 on the board is going to get tripled, so they're going to keep throwing bases at it. So if your lowest weight can get like 7 or 8 defenses, they're going to keep throwing attacks on it and try and get that triple over just kind of starting off on like an 89k 10, or was it 70k for 1009, or was maxed out
Yeah,
now?
that's
Yeah.
max. Yeah.
Mhm.
Um,
Yep.
yeah, so
I agree with you on the tier 2 Town Hall 10s. So that I played a tier 2 last season, and it's a very tough spot to be. It's like Town Hall 9 2.0 is what I like to call it.
it's true. I mean, at the end of the day, it's going to get triple. It's just how many 10s can you get them to throw at it before they finally have to just decide to throw an 11. And if you can get those defenses, it really is probably one of the greatest. I would say it's almost as great as a feeling as dropping that 10v10 triple. Because I mean, if you built that base and it was able to fend off like 4 attacks, then you're like, oh man. You look at it and then you're like, well, what is it that I did correctly that I can mimic, but not make it too close, so that way it just gets tripled the next time I try and run something similar. But that's gonna be for a different video for base
Yeah.
building. I think. Is there anything else as far as war generals that people should know?
I wanted to add 2 more things. One thing is, if you want to start being a war general, don't do it by yourself. You cannot do it by yourself. You will get burned out, and you will start to hate the game, and then you'll retire from the game. That's how it goes. And find 2 or 3 people. They don't have to be good. They really don't. Just find people that want to lead. And I mean, of course, at least 1 or 2 of the generals has to kind of know what they're talking about. But when it comes to technical skills in the game, I would say Case it eclipses me many times over. But I can kind of talk to people. I can encourage people. I think I'm very good at that, and that's kind of what I bring to the table. Whereas Case can bring, if he sees something wrong with a base, he can type up, a book and a half about, what to do, why to do it, and that kind of stuff. And that's not something that I'm extremely good at, but I think we complement each other very well with that.
Thanks, Dusky. I think you're being modest too with your.
No, not at all.
I think you're a pretty high skill level player. But I agree with that. It's good to have a mixed bag of character traits with your war generals. That it should be like a group leading. Because if you get one individual that's kind of sitting on their dictator throne, I think it can brew a lot of animosity.
Yeah.
picking your war general should like come from the clan. Like it should be people that the clan want to follow. Otherwise, it's just going to create more problems.
Yeah.
Who selects them? Like, who says this is our Town Hall 9 War General?
So it's actually kind of funny how this all happened. Season 2, whenever we first became war generals, I think Joey or Lou, one of the leaders in Buy Forever, were just kind of like, hey, do y'all want to check off a checklist of things that the Town Hall 9s have to do? And I think Becca came up and said yes first, and then I said yes, and then I drug Case and Matt in as well, and we were kind of the first group of generals. And I mean, we still have a like a group chat that we talk in every day, and we're still good friends. I think I've met Case and Becca in real life as well. So, I mean, we've all had very good chemistry. But to answer your question, just the leaders, and I think this was before we even had a lot of organization in BFE. Season 2, whenever we made the playoffs, we had a lot more organization, a lot better heads behind things, I think.
And that makes sense too. I mean, having leadership kind of assigned, identify, who has the abilities, the capabilities to do it, and like you said, developing that close relationship with the other war generals, I imagine goes a long way. So that way you guys can work together and probably work a lot more together too than just having to check the blocks. Like you're able to go that extra mile and make sure all the little details are covered.
Yeah.
But yeah, is there anything else that we're missing?
I got nothing.
Covers it from my end.
Well, I mean, I appreciate you guys hopping in here and explaining it to me, because War Generals is a new concept for me as well. I was saying before, coming from the Moral War family, I don't really remember us having any sort of like legitimate set in stone War General format. And then coming into BFE and seeing how organized it is, I like it. Like it's different. I can see why. I mean, hell, we pull off victories like this, 114 to 108 against a clan like Elite Gaming. It's a big deal. And I think having that solid organization and that leadership in there, and it kind of gives people a sense of pride in their clan too. Whenever they can get entrusted with these set roles, and kind of helping to guide some of the newer members and some of the guys who are still kind of learning the game at this level. Because this game really does kind of take a quite a bit of your time to start planning and getting to a point where you can just easily drop triples and then start guiding other people to drop triples too. Sure. Yeah, so we're gonna be going into some of the other Town Hall levels in future videos. We're gonna go to the Town Hall 10s because they've got their own set of generals, 10v11s, and then Town Hall 11s. I imagine some generals they kind of wear two hats. Is it true? Like they got some that are both a 9 general and a 10 general, or
some of the wires cross a little bit, but I think for the most part, within a given clan, the general at a certain level tends to focus on that level.
Okay, absolutely, and that makes sense. That way their eyes can just kind of stay focused on one thing instead of having to get spread out too far.
Yeah.
But all right, so that concludes our video tonight. Appreciate you guys for tuning in, and of course Dusky, who's also a fellow Buy Forever Twitch streamer. Make sure you guys follow him at twitch.tv/Dusky is that 4 Ys on that one too? On the link?
It's Dusky 11.
Just Dusky 11. I'll have the Twitch link in the YouTube description as well, guys. Make sure you guys click on it and drop him a follow as well. And yeah, we go live with all kinds of Buy Forever wars, events, and if you guys are interested in joining a Buy Forever clan, we're a couple clans deep. We're gonna have the invite link to the server where you can apply to join the family in the YouTube description as well. And appreciate you guys for tuning in.
Thanks for having us.